Every frequency they've been given was built to keep them trapped. Underneath it, there's a room in their own minds they were never given the key to. Your mission is simple, but it won't be easy. Find it, break the lock, awaken them. Alias, Drew Skywalker. Destination, the hidden reality.
Yo, what's good? Had to hop on here. I've been fighting with this streaming software for the last hour probably, but I'm starting a new thing on every Monday. It's called On My Mind Monday. So I want to start giving y'all some mindset gems to take in with you for the week to help you set a better trajectory for your week, have a better outlook on your week for the 5 days you go through work or whatever it is that you do, just to have a better perspective on everything that you got to take care of throughout these days. So, and this first topic today will be creation is finished. So I made an IG video, a reel on this same topic about 2 days ago, maybe. But the perspective that I was coming from, I want people to understand that, and something that I had to understand, is that creation is already finished, that everything that you can imagine that you want to be or want to have is already here. But the thing about the world and the universe is that it's always rearranging itself. So to be a part of, or to be aligned with that rearrangement, you have to keep raising your frequency. And I got a couple points I'm gonna talk about. This will usually be a morning show because I want you to take it into your Monday and the rest of your week. But I've been working on getting everything set up. So it's a little bit late today, but we still here because I'm pushing myself to get over the hump, get over my fear, doing lives, and really just coming off the top of my head and really speaking from a less scripted place like I do in some of my shorter videos. So I'm working with you on this. We both acknowledging what I'm talking about today and putting it into action. So going back to the topic though, when you think about creation being finished, it sounds like a deep philosophical statement, and it is a lot to it. But at the end of the day, it's also simple because you got to think that if you look at different businesses out in the world now, they typically seem to sell the same products. Like the iPhone, you probably watch me on right now. Like people are starting to get upset with Apple because they're charging more money for maybe one or two features added. And the reason why that upsets people is because it's like you charging me more money, but you're not really giving me any heightened usage, or you're not really giving me anything new, no new bells and whistles. You're just making me think. You're changing my perception on what I'm actually giving you my hard-earned money for. But if you reverse engineer that and you look at your own perception of your life, it's kind of the same because you stop looking at the world as being separate from yourself, anything in the world. You just look at, okay, where am I in relation to this thing? Or where am I in relation to this state of life? And once you start to reverse engineer that, walk the steps backwards, then you start to realize how relatively easy it is to get to where you want to go, because you have to get out of your own way. That's the biggest problem for anybody when it comes to achieving a goal or obtaining a certain thing, is getting out of their own way, because you knowing that it exists, you seeing that somebody else has it, that's your first indicator that you can too. Because if you couldn't have it, they wouldn't either. Because it's all about energy. It's all about frequency, where you align, where you allow yourself to be aligned. And the quicker you realize that, the quicker you'll be living the life that you really want to live. And I got some actual points here to help you flesh that out in your mind and more so solidify your own version. So I'm gonna be looking back and forth. But the first point is stop trying to force creation from scratch, because like I'm saying, everything that you need to create the life that you want is already here. You don't gotta go reinvent the wheel. All the materials and all the states of energy, everything you need is already here. You just gotta align yourself with it and get your mindset in the right place, get your frequency in the right place. And when people hear frequency and energy, they think that it's abstract, but it's really not. And the way that I realized that in my own life was that you got to look at every version of yourself that you want to exist, that you could imagine existing. They really do exist. And that sounds like uh, something ethereal, like something far away, but it's really not. If you think about the multiverse, the Avengers movies, like that, you can use that to visualize it. But in simple terms, you got to think about the only thing that's separating you from a different version of yourself is your daily habits, the decisions that you make every day. And to put it in perspective, think about if you want to get in shape, you want to get in your best physical shape, that version of you eats a certain way. So where you at right now, you can decide to be that person instantly, whether you by choosing a apple versus a donut. You know what I'm saying? And but that's true across the board for your life. Like it's just decisions that lead you further into one reality of yourself or another reality. And the quicker that you realize how the small choices you make every day lead you into these versions of yourself, the quicker that you will take control of it. And that takes me to the second point, the trap of trying to become. And when you use the word trying, what is broadcasting to God, to the universe that he set, is that you're in a state of lack. Because if you're trying something that's similar to, it's aligned with wanting it. And when we talk about wanting something, you want things that you don't have, and the end part of that is you already have to be in the state of whatever you want. And y'all can talk to me back in the comments if what I'm saying is if you want me to explain it a little better, but the end version of that is being in the energetic state with whatever you want, because the universe don't reward you on what you want, or it doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And being in what you are is decided by your habits every day. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't just get in shape because you want to get in shape. You got to do the things that create the shape that you want. And that's true across the board, once again. And when you talk about trying, something that I'm working on in my own life, instead of saying I'm trying, I just say I'm working on this, or I'm putting effort towards this, or I'm investing in this. You see how these are all actions, and they moving you directly towards whatever it is that you're after, versus saying trying, because trying is taking you back to that abstract. Like, trying can mean a lot of different things. Like, everybody say they're trying, but who is actually doing? That's the separate. And the universe runs off that also. That's something that you gotta tap into, which will immediately put you in the reality that you want. And going to the no, before I go to the third point, I added some quotes in here too. One of them I want you to think of or carry with you, that we always hear is, as a man thinketh, so is he. And that verse from Proverbs 23:73 is telling you that whatever your mind, whatever you focus on, that's what you become, because your focus is going to decide your habit, how you walk through life every day. And the more those habits compound, these are the ones that start to take shape. Going back to the fitness example, the more you eat donuts and all that, the more you're going to get out of shape, because we know what these foods contain, what frequencies what they consist of. A lot of sugar, a lot of fat, all things that are not good for your best health. But if you did it in reverse, an apple every day, or some fruit, if that's the main part of your diet. Like, I got some watermelon in the fridge right now, and I cut it up. I forced myself to prepare it so it would be easier for me to make that choice versus going downstairs to my vending machine. And this is the dance between the two different versions of yourself that I'm talking about. And that's how I executed it in my own life. And now with those choices available to me, with the better choice being the easier choice to make, now it's easier for me to execute on what I actually want to be, what I actually want my body to be, the best physical version. And that goes to point 3, which is get out of your own way, which is the main premise of this whole video, is that you gotta stop setting yourself up for failure. And that's what keeps us away. That's what keeps a lot of us away from the lives that we want. We set ourselves up for failure all the time. And staying on the same subject, it's been nights where I bought cookies and I had them sitting on the counter. And when I would go to the gym, I would feel it. I wouldn't feel as in tune with my body. I wouldn't feel as motivated to do the workout because I didn't fuel myself correctly, and I set myself up for that failure because I didn't have to buy the cookies. They could have stayed on the shelf at the store, but I let my impulse and my desire to taste sugar, my emotional eating, whatever you want to blame it on, I let that stop me from going the direction of my better version, my best version. And every day is like that. That's why discipline is such an important attribute to becoming who you need to be, because you got to do what you don't want to do in mind of the end that you actually want. You got to think with the end in mind. That's something that you will hear a lot when they talk about creating a reality that you actually want, because you got to look at it in its end state, in its most perfect state, how you would imagine it, your dream life, and walk the steps backward, because there's always some steps, because you can't look at it like it's so far away from you. You just got to look at how do you raise your frequency to get on the level of that thing. And that's what I'm talking about. It's a lot of action in it. It sounds abstract, but it's a lot of action. It's all action, but it's also not as much as you think. It's not as heavy as you think it would be. It's just a matter of changing who you are on the inside. But it starts with your thought. And going to step 4, this is where it really falls into your hands when I talk about you got to change the thought. You got to change the frequency. I talked the other day also about creating an alter ego, how you need an alter ego to really get to the level of life that you want. And when it comes to an alter ego, people kind of shy away from it because they believe it's inauthentic in a way, but it's really not. Because like I started out telling y'all, every version of yourself that you want to exist already exists. So by you thinking of it, that means it's real in some dimension. You ain't on that dimension yet, but it's still real somewhere. But the action that you put in brings you to that dimension. It brings you up. And the power of an alter ego is that it allows you to tap into the attributes and the mindsets, the frequency, the overall frequency of the person that you're seeking to become. And with that alter ego, once you deploy it enough, once you adopt it enough over time, it really becomes you, because you get comfortable with carrying those attributes, that other version of yourself. Because the thing about the human part of yourself, it carries everything about you, including the negative. So it's carrying all your doubt, all your shame. Like for me, for instance, I got memories of being embarrassed to talk in front of people because I always had a deep voice from when I was young. So when we were younger, like in middle school, it was embarrassing to me because it was so different from everybody else. So I carried that for a long time. And then I carried the fear of my accent coming out, not being able to pronounce certain words correctly, especially as I'm getting into some of these more complex topics. And I really have to articulate myself. My human version, or the previous version of me, carried all of that, carried all of those fears. So for a while, it was hard for me to flourish as a content creator because I was holding on to those negative aspects of myself. So now when you see me as Drew Skywalker, you know who I am. You know where that came from, because that was the version of me that took it all in stride, that didn't have a problem with talking to people. Like, there's people watching me right now on camera, everybody watching me from their phones in the comfort of their own homes. And that fear that was once there is not there anymore, because I stepped up into this new version of myself. But the more I practiced with it, the more I sharpened it, it really became me. So now, no matter where I'm at, whether I'm on camera or in person, I'm the same person because I can tap into those attributes at any given moment. And that's a big part of getting out of your own way, giving yourself the opportunity, giving yourself the avatar to do that. And on my post about alter egos, I told my audience to down in the comments, y'all can go back and do that too after this video, after this live. But I told my audience to go down and tell me what their alter ego would look like. Give it a name and then describe the energy behind it with a color, a song, and an animal. And I sat back and reflected. I came up with it as a fun way for people to create a new version that they can utilize to create the life that they want. Like I keep saying, like I'm gonna keep beating that dead horse because people don't really realize how much power they have right now, how much one or two decisions can change your life in a weekend. Like I tell people all the time, like I'm a bartender, so I see people come in and spend $20 on one shot of alcohol. Usually Don Julio Rip, which is still mind blowing to me. But in the same regard, that same $20 could get them a pro subscription on an AI software that could lay out a whole business plan for them within 30 seconds to a minute. And then they could begin executing on that immediately, the next day, the same night in some cases. But it's all about perception. People separate their desired realities from themselves. They think that it's all these external factors that do it, but it's really them at all times. So what I'm telling you, the people that's watching this, that'll watch this afterwards, is you got to remove those obstacles. And the biggest one is yourself. You got to look at what about your daily life, what about your habits, your decisions that's getting in the way of where you really want to be. And it'll always point back to you. And that's the ugly part of it. There's also the beautiful part of it, that you can be your own destruction, but you can also be your own savior as well, depending on how you live your life. And I didn't want this to be too long just because I'm already late. I know y'all getting ready for bed, but I did want to drop that on y'all and force myself to execute like I'm telling y'all, to not sit back and procrastinate anymore. And really get to giving y'all my fullest self. I'm working through my alter egos right now myself, going back to point 4. But yeah, like wrapping it up in simple terms, you got to take control. You got to sit down. I want you to, after this video, I want you to sit down and write down your desire, type it out, whatever you want to do, put it in your phone, your notes, or even do a video. You can talk, you can say it, do a voice memo. But I want you to somehow document your ideal life, your ideal version of yourself. Like really get descriptive. Think about how to look on a random Tuesday. How they say your life really be changing on a random Tuesday. Like it don't happen when you think it would. Write it down. Write down how 10:17 on Tuesday morning would look in your ideal life. Write down who you are, what you have, where you are, all of that. Get descriptive. And with that, then I want you to take that, and if you don't already have an AI like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, one of these, I want you to get a free account on one of these and feed it into the software and ask it, okay, if this is my ideal life and this is my current life, what are the steps in between to get me there? And then it'll give you a bunch of objectives, and it'll give you touch points that you can actually act on today. And once you have that, now you have something that you can actually reference. You don't gotta imagine. You can really get to work on these things. You know what I'm saying? So that's the challenge for y'all after this video. put what you want down on paper and really get realistic about executing, and stop imagining. When life give you lemonade, when life give you lemons, you make lemonade. And it's simple. Like when we kids, you see kids out there at the lemonade stand, they don't go research, well, how much money could I make in the lemonade business, or what's the steps to starting a lemonade stand. No, they just go get some lemons, sugar, water, they make the lemonade, and they go stand out on the corner. And then they let the universe do the rest. They let God bring the customers. You know what I'm saying? And that's the childlike spirit. And that's what you got to get back to. You got to get back to having fun with your life, and then it'll become everything that you want it to be. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what I wanted to talk about. But yeah, stop waiting for tomorrow. Execute today. Y'all know y'all can write me, DM me, comment on my videos. You know, I'm taking a lot more feedback from my audience than I have in the past. You know, I'm getting more comfortable with doing sub discussions. Like today is On My Mind Monday, so I typically do this every Monday morning, somewhere around 8 or 9 a.m., something like that. Just like I said, so you can take it with you into your day. And then I'll do Wednesdays. We'll do Get Well Wednesday, where I'll be talking about a health topic to help you eat better, work out better, XYZ. Friday, Free Game Friday, we talking about dating, relationships, social dynamics, or a freestyle topic, maybe if y'all give me one before that day. And then Saturday, we'll do What You Say Saturday. We'll be reading the comments from my previous week's posts, because we have a lot of great comments that come under my posts, but it's hard to reply to everybody typing, and it's a lot of good discussions, sub discussions that could be had that shoot off from my main topic. So I'm gonna start reading those on live as well. Let y'all chime in. We'll go back and forth about that. So yeah, but I appreciate y'all coming through tonight. I had to break the ice with my lives. And yeah, so stay tuned. The next one will be Get Well Wednesday. We'll be talking about the protein myth, how the food industry is leading us astray with this idea that we need all this protein. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. It'll be somewhere around either morning or evening. I think it's gonna be a morning or evening show. It could be either one, but I'll give y'all some notifications in the meantime. Yeah, that's it for tonight. Get out of your own way, because creation is finished. It's waiting on you. But y'all holler at me and let me know what y'all thought about this, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.